Nsem-Pii TV aba na sa agye nyini na ye adwuma mfe bebree ni na mo buso nso gina mo na so de ana se ebe mo aba so branti a ene mabawa mo techire a mo di se adwuma yi e wo media space de boa tete educate de amane ebo so kọ ma asama obi ante oba YouTube oba beti ni nyina no yada mase ni dwuma mo so mo di boa me bon aba so e mo aba so pa mo nkoso ana mo ni se adwuma pa ne fa mo o my God.
The first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
Well, my memoir Joe more how my watch Sabri minim time I watch him in Famra Namzama official pa Emra your number one channel so Nsem-Pii TV. Yen say break cry, yen say break, yen kupi more parliament. That for me pese menya 30 seconds video be a more na blow to a parliament, yes. MPs not to blow Sabra me no kasa see a crowd kupi more parliamentar. Ego so so ama minority ni majority no e dia bom ni nyina say minority no e feel say speaker backben are declare pandai seat ni say vacant in electoral commission e hwe ni mo say onkwa by election minority ni chema enye mra kwan so ade na speaker ye no anye ni na eno ana speaker so say yes ade na why ni na minority MPs ni say there be omontwe ema speaker enye sa ade na oye no eno hu back and forth and then to kwa ba yinya sound ba me be 30 seconds video bi ama ne wo hu ade kakra ekoso parliament inti hwe video ni wi a inti audios and tensions are ekoso parliament NDC MPs and NPP MPs and then to kwa asheso parliament.
Pushing and pulling each other on the center of Parliament, and it's unclear how the marshals will resolve this. But you see the marshals there now standing, watching what is happening, and for those who just watching, the minority MPs proceeded from their seats. They moved from their seats to the center of the floor in an attempt to distract the happenings. You see the majority MPs shouting push as they push the minority MPs to go back to their seats now. It's a scaffold that has broken between the two sides of the House. The members of Parliament from both sides pushing and pulling each other as the minority move from their seats in an attempt to distract the proceedings of the House. The majority rose to their feet. They will not take anything of a sort from the minority. They have moved to make sure that the minority occupies their seat, go back to their seat, and allow the business of the House to proceed, allow the Parliament to proceed with their business. Before what we are seeing now, the majority was proceeding with a business. A number of reports have been laid. The Lands Committee have laid a report calling for the allocation to the Lands Ministry to be adopted. The Speaker went on to adopt that, and they were proceeding with other reports of the House. And the minority were still chanting, calling for the proceedings of the House to come to a halt. The majority and the Speaker will not take any of that. And at the point, some few minutes ago, they all moved from their seats to occupy the center of the House in an attempt to prevent the proceedings to continue. As we speak, they are mingling among each other. It's unclear what happens to the provisions of the House that bars members from crossing over to the other side, which we call, carpet crossing. It's unclear what happens to that provision of the House now and whether the Speaker will be pronouncing on that. You see the marshals in the midst of the MPs trying to separate them and encourage them to take a seat. At a point now, both minority and majority MPs are hugging each other. It looks like they have, understood, come to a consensus now. You see MPs from the minority hugging MPs from the majority, and it's unclear whether the minority will resume their seat, but the indication they're giving now is that they would continue to occupy the space in the middle of the House. They will not be retreating to their seat. They are continuing with a chant in protest to make their protest stand. You see there, the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, still reading to the Speaker, indicating that the proceedings of the House must continue. The business of the House must continue. Al-Hassan Suhini there also indicating to the table office to give audience to the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, and listen to him, hear from him as he moves for more reports to be taken. More report from the committees should be taken and approved as the House makes an attempt to adopt the report of the committees and approve the allocations of the finance minister to the various ministries. That is what the majority are still trying to push now, as the minority still occupy the center of the floor. You see the marshals now have built a wall around the minority, trying to prevent them from proceeding any further. The marshals of the House have built a human wall around the minority, preventing them from making any further step to distract the proceedings of the House. You see there, Honorable John Dubello also moving to the center of the floor, appealing to the minority to occupy their seat. The marshals have indicated to him that they are on top of the issues. They are on top of the issues, and that he should resume his seat. He has retreated now. The Deputy Lands Minister and MP for Bamboy, Honorable Yusuf Suleimana, also urging his members to calm down and take their seats, and that the business of the House will proceed regardless what the minority is doing now. The minority have now resolved to stay on their feet now in the middle of the floor of Parliament. The banging of the table is still continuing as they continue their protest against the proceedings, the business of the House from continuing against the majority executing the business of government on the floor. There was scuffle between the two sides, the majority pushing the minority in to resume their seats, preventing them from distracting the proceedings of the House. The minority would refuse. They will not budge to that. They are occupying the middle of the floor of the House as part of their protest. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, is trying every means possible to get some order to the floor so that the proceedings can progress. For those just joining us, Parliament some few minutes ago was in chaos as both sides of the House engaged in exchange of words and pushing and pulling of each other to register their protest as the minority moved to occupy the center of the House. But as we speak,
has been moved and seconded. Since there is no further consideration, I put the question. Those in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say no.
Item number 19.
Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
No, 19. You have to repeat it. Where's the minister? She come. No, he says that he didn't put the question.
Of the Committee on Employment, on Labor, Jobs and Employment and Pensions, on the allocations of the sum of 26,648,670 Ghana cedis for the services of the National Labour Commission for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, so move.
Where is the chairman? To come back here. Where's the chairman?
Honorable members, I heard the motion being moved. The one who seconded the motion, I don't know who has seconded the motion. Please, you have not disclosed who you are. Who seconded the motion?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I am the Vice Chairman of the committee, and in seconding the motion, my name. I'm the Vice Chairman of the committee. My name is Isaac Ashai Odampton. In seconding the motion, I present the report and ask the House to approve I ask the Hansard to capture the entire report as though it's been read and call on the House to approve the sum indicated in the report. Thank you.
Honorable members, motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House.
Mr. Speaker, you may put the question.
Honorable members, I put the question. Those in favor of motion item 19 on the order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
Mr. Speaker, if we can take motion number 30. Motion number 30.
Honorable members, motion number 3030.
Mr. Speaker,
Moved by the chairman of the committee.
where's the chairman? Chairman, okay.
Defense and Interior. Defense and Interior.
No, come here. Just say motion number 30. Read it. Just read the whole thing.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this honorable House adopt the report of the committee. No, this is Committee on Defense and Interior on the allocation of the sum of 10 million.
Is trying to overpower now. You see a number of majority MPs now still coming to help the marshals of the House to push in the minority. More majority MPs are now coming to push back the minority to occupy their seats now, and also degenerating into another scene of chaos on the floor of Parliament, and total chaos, total breakdown of order here on the floor of Parliament. Looks like looks like a scuffle between the minority MP, Honorable Stephen, who they popularly call Sticker, Stephen Amwa, there in a scuffle with another minority MP. They nearly exchange blows between each other on the floor of Parliament. This is total breakdown of law and order here on the floor of Parliament. None of the MPs will listen to the Speaker. At every now and then, an MP just flew into the air. The document on the table of the clerk of the House, the document at the table office was just thrown into the air, and there seems not to be any end to this now, as there is consistent break of chaos on the floor of the legislature, signaling a total breakdown of law and order on the floor of Parliament. At a point, they engage in this, and in the next moment, you see them hugging and smiling at each other. There is another attempt now to still push back the minority. Two MPs, an MP and a marshal of the floor, are heckling each other there on the floor of Parliament, at the center of the floor of Parliament. Such a day for the parliamentary democracy. Total breakdown of law and order in the House now. Intermittently, you see the minority and the majority heckling each other. The majority and the marshals of the House trying to push back the minority. But while this is ongoing, the House continue. The majority side of the House, led by the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, continue to prosecute government business on the floor. That is happening at the background. A number of reports are being taken from the committees approving budget allocations to the various ministries, while the marshals as well as the Speaker continue to try and get some order to the floor of the House amid the consistent and the prolonged protest by the minority side of the House. Honorable Stephen Amwa, Speaker, is still exchanging words with the majority MP there, and the two of them doing verbal exchange at each other. At a point, it nearly escalated into fisticuffs between Honorable Speaker and the majority MP there. At every point and time, you see a paper being flown from the minority side onto the floor of the House in the face of the majority and the marshals of the House. Total breakdown of law and order in the floor of Parliament. The minority whip at the leadership of the minority don't seem to have a hold of the situation. At a point, they would appeal to their members to calm down and take their seat. The minority members would have nothing of the appeals from their leadership. At another point, you see the leadership themselves joining in the protest. As we speak now, total breakdown of law and order. There seem not to be any leadership on the floor of the House, especially on the minority side. You see there, Honorable Habib Idrisu, the first deputy whip, now signaling to his minority members to move forward and occupy the stage even more. He is now signaling to his second deputy whip, Jerry Ahmed, to whip his members on to occupy the floor of the House, the middle of the floor of Parliament, in order to continue with their protest. And it doesn't seem that this will go anywhere anytime soon. And you see the former Minister of Interior, Dominic Nitiwu, walking out of the House now. There's another push and pull there in the middle of the floor of Parliament. The marshals trying to push in the minority to occupy their seat. While that theater is unfolding at the left side of the Speaker, the majority is busily executing the business of government on the right-hand side of the Speaker. They are not having anything at all. The Speaker himself will not make any ruling on this. He is allowing the business of the House to proceed without any hindrance. Total breakdown of law and order on the floor of Parliament, where the minority, as part of effort to oppose or register their protest against the declaration of Pandai seat vacant, have been chanting patriotic songs, have been chanting songs in protest of that, hurling placards with various inscriptions, drumming home their protest, calling for Parliament to withdraw that communication to the Electoral Commission, ordering the Electoral Commission to go ahead with the by-election in Pandai constituency following that declaration of the High Court.